So we have no, I don't think we have any, that I can see, have any reasonable hope of being able to do any dredging in the river. Okay. How deep is 1% flood at Vineyard and Ventura Road? We may have to get back to you on that one because of the fact that we'd have to look at our maps, and probably we'll have to look at what comes out of the final map when this thing is determined. As we mentioned, there is a DFIRM, and that's the digital rate flood insurance map. The DFIRM is going to go in place, and the final letter of determination for that, as Gerard indicated, is going to be July 10th. That will put into motion the implementation of that map for January 10th of 2010. So that at that point in time, we will still be finishing the analysis of the flood insurance studies, and some of the issues that we've taken up with FEMA, they will be addressed. So it may be beyond that time before we actually know the total impact of the storm. But the initial DFIRM is going to be based on coming out after the final letter is adopted by FEMA in July, and should be, when do we have the idea that that map will be public as far as being able to be used? July. In July, okay. So our lot is about 2 feet above asphalt. And where will the water flow? Well, the water will flow to seek the point where it can get back into the river to some other low point to where it can soak to the ground. So we don't know at this point. Depends on where you are in the routing in the floodplain. But the water will continue to try and seek a path back to the lowest point, which is in many cases we hope would be back in the river. Question, I'm asking this question for residents in the area of the possible flooding. Question, how expensive will the special insurance be? I think Gerard touched on that a little bit. If you have questions about that insurance and some of the caveats to that, please see us after this meeting. But they're probably the best source you have. And he mentioned Jana Critchfield? Critchfield. Jana's a wonderful person, and we have information here. She's very knowledgeable. We gave you her personal phone number, so you can call her up and talk to her live, ask those questions. She will help you with it, and we have a number of handouts up here that will help you along that line. As Gerard mentioned, we are not insurance experts, and we're really treading on thin ice, so to speak, when we start talking about insurance rates. Do the residences have to have insurance? I saw several questions related to this, and the answer is no, with a caveat. If you own your own home and you have no mortgage on there, nobody says you have to buy insurance regardless. But if you have a mortgage and it's backed by federal insurance, it's a federally insured mortgage, the lender will require you to have the insurance. So it's something that everybody that has a mortgage on their property, the lender can require you to have the insurance. So it's something that's going to be at the discretion of the lender. And will there be printed info on this? I think Miranda's handing out some of that now. Are all owners required to purchase insurance, or only those with federally insured? I think I just answered that one. If you own your own home, nobody will tell you that you have to have insurance. That's your choice. I would suggest, in light of what we've seen here, that you would seriously consider it, because you can get in at a reasonably low rate, and you can get that rate grandfathered until this situation on SCR3 is corrected with an engineered solution that will protect the area behind from any potential future flooding. What happens if a homeowner can't afford the insurance? What can the mortgage holder do? What are the options? And how does this need for mandatory expensive insurance affect property values? I'm not really qualified to answer those, other than that I believe that if you get the insurance on that grandfathered rate, I believe it was the $800 a year rate, that transfers with the property, does it not? So if you were to buy that and then sell the property, I think as long as the insurance carries forward and is not canceled, I think that will carry with the property. So that's a selling point, I think. What year did the county notify the city? I think we dealt with this one, did we not? what year did the city notify the city of Oxnard regarding the levee problem? And I think Sergio and Gerard spoke to that one. Why was the gap left in the levee system? If a home in the flood area is above the base flood level, will it still be required to get insurance? I think we talked to that. How can the public help speed up this gap closing? Okay, there's two there of the three. Why was the gap left in the levee system? The gap at one point in time, or before with the 1985 firms, the gap was not a source, according to the map. The gap was not a source of potential flooding because the 100-year flood was contained, according to the map, was contained within the levee area, or within the river banks. However, if you look at this picture over here on the wall, that's the 1965 flood with a flood level or flood quantity of 165,000, which is a 100-year storm or 1% storm. There was major flooding in the wagon wheel area, and so it flooded. Was not contained in, so the maps that were shown, the 1985 firms, were not correct in that area. These were not correct maps. So that is why was the gap not closed at that time? You know, this business with FEMA now, this is a nationwide deal. FEMA is requiring that all of the properties in the country that are behind levees be protected, and that they be certified, these levees be accredited. And speaking with the engineer in charge of Region 9 when she was here in early April to help us make the presentation to the Board of Supervisors, she told me an amazing thing. You know, nationwide, I don't know that this is going to hold up in the final analysis, but nationwide, the success rate of getting levees certified across the nation is about 10%. That was staggering to me, because that means that 90% of the levees in this country are going to fail to make certification. So I felt poorly, or felt badly, that 3 of our 9 didn't make the cut. But after she told me those numbers, I didn't feel quite so bad, although it doesn't help you a whole lot to feel comfort from the fact for the people that are behind the levees, the 3 that we could not get in the system. So it's something that the public awareness, certainly Katrina had a factor in that, but there was, I guess the gap was left because the gap wasn't closed because it wasn't perceived to be a problem at that time, and has since become a real issue, not because of flooding. That happened in 1969 and nothing was done in the intervening years, but because now all of a sudden FEMA says you must certify. And when we go out to provide the information to make that justification for certification, we can't because there's no levee there, so we're automatically thrown out of the program. So we have to solve it in other ways. And how can the public help speed up this gap closing? Contact your elected officials. Contact basically the state and the federal, your congressmen and the people that are responsible. It's going to take major dollars, as was mentioned here, probably in the neighborhood of $30 million to fix this problem. That's a tremendous amount of money, and it's going to require that we get some help. And some of that money that's coming out of the sky now would be good if we could get some of that coming out of the administration to help. But that's probably not going to help us because, first place, we're not ready to build. So we have to get this project ready to go, which we are attempting to do as soon as possible. And then, secondly, we have to be able to lean on the federal officials to help see the need and help support what we have here that we need to get done. Next question: Arundo Donax is a serious plant pest in the river bottoms. Don't I know that? This weed interferes with the free flow of river waters and thereby placing severe burdens on levees, stream banks. All of that's true. It's a really noxious weed. It's a very serious problem. It's a very aggressive plant, and we are engaged right now in a major program, millions of dollars being spent to eliminate this up on the Ventura River in a stretch up there by Mintillaha Dam. The reason that we're able to do that there is because there was federal money involved. Why we don't have that kind of a program on other areas like along the Santa Clara River is we don't have a program we can tap to get the money, and it's beyond the resources of the locals to be able to do that. So it is a problem. We recognize it's a problem. It's probably not going to be solved, although it would be great if we could get it solved and get rid of that thing. But it's very invasive. It's very tough to kill.